My art, I would describe as, I'd lean somewhere between abstract expressionism. I consider myself more of a self-taught artist. Art has definitely been in pretty much every part of my life. My dad and I would paint with the other kids together on the weekends. Us kids would go out in the backyard and just kind of do whatever came to mind. My dad would just have like some random paints. So that's kind of where I started. Art for me has been a form of therapy. I know a lot of people joke about that, but for me, I find it to be a very true thing. I've always had to deal with anxiety in my life, and it's always been a roller coaster in terms of what forms it's come in over the years. For me, I, again, just paint whatever I'm feeling, because sometimes anxiety makes me feel like I'm a mess. There are certain habits that I have that are a result of that anxiety and that OCD. So my collection heights, it was, like I said, it's just whatever I was feeling in those different moments of time, not really knowing that I was telling a story. Creating those pieces in those moments was not only a reflection of those moments, but it was that therapy journey of art that I was going through. Tears kind of represented this place of where I was finding myself with those bouts of depression and working through that. Caving in, that one kind of shows how it felt like things were quite literally caving in my life. Craving clarity, I felt like that was kind of a reflection of me like drying up the tears and getting back to, okay, who am I? Then the next one is called Eyes Wide Open. I would say this one was kind of inspired by my grandfather who passed away last year. And it kind of looked like staring into the sun, which I thought was me opening my eyes to what I'm going through and realizing how serious it was. Roots is a painting of a lone birch tree. It's submerged underwater, and for me that kind of reflected me being flooded over by emotion to the point where I couldn't see where my roots were. So in the space between is a very colorful, messy piece. So it kind of was me finding myself in the space between, where I was realizing what it was that I was going through, but then at the same time finding the light at the end of the tunnel. Muddled, it's definitely more of a mess. So this is kind of me looking into myself and seeing that there was a mess to deal with. Parts of a Whole is sort of the centerpiece of the whole collection. There's basically pieces strewn across the canvas, and it's sort of my representation of me picking up the pieces of who I am as a person to help me move forward. Mirrors, it's almost like each stroke is like me looking into a mirror and seeing the reflection of who I am and trying to deal with the muddled mess that I've been through. The beauty of balance. As I worked through it, I was seeing that I was creating some balance in my artwork. And I thought it was kind of cool because it ended up representing me coming back to that balance in life. I was finding that balance again with artwork, with work in general, but also spending a lot more time with my family and friends. Reflections, you look at that one and it kind of brings a sense of joy because there's just so much brightness in that, and it makes you kind of feel like you're on cloud nine, which was kind of a reflection of how I started feeling again after I've worked through some of these problems that I've had with my mental struggles. Breathe is basically the conclusion of me having worked through all of these problems where I've found the balance and I feel like I can breathe again. For anybody that's experiencing anxiety or depression or anything of that nature, seek whatever help that you personally need. You are more than your anxiety. You are capable of so much more. Anxiety is not what controls you. Yes, it's a part of you, and I think it's important to accept that, but try to recognize what is reality and what is your fear. And realize that you are so much more capable than your anxiety makes you feel like. Do push yourself to pursue something that makes you happy more than anything. I was definitely blessed by the opportunity to display my artwork over at Brewing Reserve of California. And that was through my friend Jennifer Gattenby, who I actually met at work. She was a really cool friend who was always inspiring me to pursue my art.
I was really happy with our first featured artist. Was a good friend of mine who I had connected with in other areas of my career that just was so ready and to launch into that space with her first big showing like that. And I was so grateful. Her work was amazing, and she really helped me with the parameters around which we would build our artist program.
It was a passion of mine to do home brewing. My wife and I had just gotten together, and she highly encouraged me to do this. And we always thought, as we started a family and raise our children, that we wanted them to be part of our business and to teach them a strong work ethic like both my wife and I had. I love what I do because of the variety. Our interest is really to get people who aren't really into craft beer quite yet into craft beer. It was really important to integrate the community aspect to our brewery. What we're trying to attempt to do here is to be a neighborhood brewery. And then as part of that, we wanted local artists to be brought into the community as well.
I'm thankful to the Brewing Reserve of California, Steve and Terrell, the wonderful couple who created that business, and all the crew working there who allowed for me to display my art in this space. I think it's really inspired me to take my art to the next level, and I hope to continue sharing it with the community.